Hey folks, this is Katya, the vegan powerlifter, and today we are going to look at basic squat technique for beginners. I already have a video on the 10 most common squat mistakes, and you can check that out after this video. But make sure to watch till the end to watch the most common mistakes discussed here today, because they are going to be different than in that video. So, if you've never squatted with a barbell, this is a video for you. If you've lifted in the gym for like a couple years, if you've maybe competed, then maybe check the video with the squat mistakes instead. So, you've never seen the barbell in your life, you've never touched it, you come to the gym, you touch the barbell, you're excited to put it on your back and squat in it. Squat with it. How do you do it? First, you find your rack, okay? Then you set a rack to the appropriate height. So, as you can see, this rack is unevenly set, and this side is too tall for me. This side could probably be fine. So I am going to check this height out. It is a little bit lower than my collarbone, probably a little bit higher than my nipple. Somewhere in this range, okay? You might test a height or two and then see which one you're more comfortable with, depending on where you put the barbell, high bar, low bar. We're not going into the bar position today. But let me know in the comments if you want a video breaking down the differences between high bar squat and low bar squat as well. So today we are just figuring out the squat height, the squat bar height. This looks about right. Then I'm going to look at safeties. Do not ignore the safeties. Safeties are these things on the sides that are going to catch you if you fall. So you can just rest the barbell on them and get out safely, okay? So this one I'm gonna set kind of randomly to hole number 6. That one is set to hole number 7. And I'm just going to squat, spreading my arms to see, like, the barbell's probably not gonna hit. That one on the right, that's probably fine. This one's probably a little low. So I'm gonna put it a little higher and check it again with a barbell. And I might have to check these and reset them until I find my perfect height. And then I'm going to write it down in my notes on the phone and always set it the same way, okay? If you come to a new gym, there's a different rack, you might have to do this again. There's different racks in all kinds of gyms. The numbers on the racks are not the same. The brands are different, so you might need to reset it, okay? So, before I approach my barbell, I'm actually going to squat body weight and figure out the comfortable foot position to squat with heavier and heavier weights. I can squat narrow feet position, see how that feels. I can spread them out a little bit, see how that feels. I can go super wide, see how that feels, and then kind of be like, okay, I think I'm strongest in that stance. And you might not figure out your strongest stance right away. You might experiment and you might figure out your strongest stance when you put some serious weight on and be like, yeah, this weight is not comfortable. My heels are lifting, or I'm having too huge of a butt wink, or I'm just like failing forward, not comfortable, and then change it. So trial and error is your best friend now. Accept the fact that it's gonna happen. You will change things as you progress, as you get stronger. Okay, so let's say my foot width is going to be a little wider than shoulder width. That's probably what I start all my clients with. And the toes are a little bit spread out and knees follow the toes. Okay, and I'm going to squat until my butt is lower than the top of my knee. My hip crease, namely, is lower than the top of my knee. So this is a half squat. It is not a squat. That is a full depth squat. And I'm also making a video on how to hit depth, probably in the upcoming 2 weeks. If it's already recorded, it will be linked in the corner. So, figured out the stance, put the barbell on the comfortable height. Now it's time for me to put my hands on the barbell, okay? So you see these rings? A lot of people put their fingers on these rings thinking that's for squatting. No, baby, that's for bench. That's not for squat, okay? If I put my hands there and try to squat, that's gonna make me kind of unstable. And as you can see, it's easier to hunch. It's a lot less likely that I'm going to steadily hold my chest upright without the bar rolling back down my spine. So that's a horrible idea. So we're not gonna do that. Instead, we are always going to squat with the same hand width, hand position. And it is going to be as narrow as I am comfortable in the shoulders. What do I mean by that? As narrow as possible. So this is not as narrow as possible because I cannot put it anywhere. Let's take it wider. This is about 40 centimeters, this center knurling, okay? So I'm gonna put my pointy finger here and try this out. I'm gonna put this not on my neck, but a little lower on my trap. Bring the center of mass of my body under the barbell. That means my butt and my belly. I'm not gonna have it twerking out there. I'm going to bring it underneath. Straighten my wrist. Make sure it's not like, eee, that's uncomfortable. Straighten my wrist. Find a fly on the wall. Lift. Okay, that's too much. Let's break this down. Step back and squat. So anyways, am I comfortable in this hand position? I think so. I do not need to take my hands any wider. If I squat low bar, I need to take my hands a little wider because my bar is going to sit lower in my back on my rear delts. But so far for high bar squat, which I'm doing today, this is fine. So every time I come, I'm going to put my finger here and glue my hands to the barbell. They are not moving from this point on, okay? My hands are glued to the barbell, they are set. Great, wonderful. Now, straightening the wrist. I do not want the barbell to sit on my wrist and push like this. I do not want for it to push like that and for me to try to hold it. I want this straight, okay? When I grab the barbell, I want the wrist straight. So, I'm going to put my hands on the barbell evenly, get under the barbell, put it on my trap or my rear delts, depending on the kind of squat that I'm doing. Put it on my back, regardless. Get the center of mass under the barbell. So probably it's not going to be like some wide foot position. I recommend unracking when the feet are close. It is much easier for you to lift, right? You see how much room I have? I can even put the rack a little bit higher. This is a little low. I can put it a little higher. Okay. And from this position, after setting, I'm going to straighten my wrist. You see now my wrist is straight. And the barbell is exactly under my elbow. My elbows and my wrists and the barbell are stacked. Wonderful. Now I'm gonna find a fly on the wall. So right now for me, I don't have a mirror in front of me, thank God. You don't wanna look at yourself when you squat. If there's a mirror, hang a yoga mat like on top of it so you don't see yourself, because you want to learn where your body goes without checking it in the mirror. That feedback is not useful, trust me. A lot of beginners think looking in the mirror is giving them in the moment feedback and they can autocorrect during the rep. Usually just ruins the set. So I would recommend filming yourself, trying to understand where your body is going, and then look at the video and be like, did I put my body where I wanted it to, or did something go astray? Then, after you've watched the video and give yourself feedback, good job, bad job, what do I need to fix? Do another set with the things you need to fix in mind. All right, so before I unrack, I'm going to find a fly on the wall. And I am going to stare at that thing, regardless what it is. It can be a speck in the wall, it can be a door handle, a window handle. I sometimes look right above people's heads, kind of like at the top of the window line or the top of the window ceiling line. Or I can look a couple of feet in front of me at the wall and floor connection. It doesn't matter. It just has to be a point that you stare at and not look away, because I don't want you doing this when you're with the weight. I don't want for you to talking to Joe who's squatting next to you. I don't want you turning your head looking at your coach. You are just looking straight at one thing and focusing on your movement. Whatever you see doesn't matter. You just need to focus your eyes on one thing and not move your head, because then the rest of your back might also do some fluctuations, and we do not want that. All right, let's repeat. Hands on the barbell, glued, same place. Barbell set on my back where I want it. The center of my body mass under the barbell, feet close. Then I unhinge my knees and straighten them. Notice that I do not do this movement. That's a good morning. We are not good morninging the barbell out of the freaking rack. Okay? We're not doing that. We're getting our butt and our knees exactly under the rack. And then we're getting up. Fabulous. Now we take 2 steps back. 2, not 22. We're not doing the moon shuffle, Michael Jackson. No, not here. After you unhinge your knees, you're taking 2 steps back. 1, 2. Fabulous. Then you can position your feet the way you have decided. So I'm going to make sure my toes are pointing out. I can look at them to make sure they're even. I usually recommend people don't. I usually recommend after you unrack, you stare at that fly in the wall that you've picked before you unracked, and you continue staring at it until you finish your lift. Cool. Now, I'm just dropping my center of mass directly down, pulling the bar down on my back so that chest keeps staying high, shoulder blades are packed together and down, and elbows are trying to meet together in one point. That's a lot, huh? Let's break it down. So I'm pulling the barbell down as if I'm like doing a pull-up. I'm trying to like pretend I'm pulling it down on my back. I am pulling the barbell down on my back. Chest is going high. Elbows are pointing down in the floor. They're not pointing back like this. They're pointing down. Okay, we're not chicken winging them back. They're pointing down and pulling the bar down, so my chest naturally goes high. Notice that I'm not exaggerating my anterior pelvic tilt with this. I am not doing a little Donald Duck butt posture, okay? I am going to have my hips stacked underneath my center of mass, on top of my knees, on top of the center of my foot. So pretty much all of the weight is going to be in the straight line, all of the heavy weight. Otherwise, I will be more inclined to like fall somewhere or just to hold it unevenly and have a really tough time standing here. So since the weight is stacked, I can hold this forever. Okay, I'm going to start squatting, finally, at some point in this video, right? When are you gonna start squatting? Now we're gonna start squatting. We're going to drop our center of mass directly down, keep staring at my fly in the wall, and when I exhale, get up. Drop the weight exactly down. I'm not going to pause. I'm just doing this slowly for educational purposes here. Before each rep, I'm going to inhale, either with the nose into the chest or with the mouth into the belly, and brace. Cover the bracing after I put the barbell back on the rack in a minute, okay? So, inhale, chest up, elbows pointing together, bar pulling down on the back. Drop the hips. Knees follow toes. That means knees spread out. We're not trying to do any kind of weird movements with the knees. They just naturally follow the toes. And if they cave in a little bit, that is not a big deal unless they hurt, okay? A lot of people squat with caved knees. World champions squat with caved knees. That is not a big deal. Okay, so I knock out the rest of my set. As you can see, everything is moving in a straight line. And then I just walk forward. I'm not going to be like, oh, where's the rack? Oh, put this one in. Oh, put this one in. No, I'm just walking forward and the barbell is going to hit the rack. Okay, and then I'm going to drop it and it's going to stay in the rack. It's a pretty wide range. If you hit the rack, if you set the rack correctly, you're going to hit the rack and lower it and it's going to stay there. Cool, I think that's it about squats. Pretty much. Ask me questions in the comments if I missed anything. All right, let's cover bracing. I already have a clip on bracing, a reel, but we're going to cover it again just in case. Okay, bracing and some common squat mistakes. So first, bracing your core means not just your belly, okay? It's not just the abs like most people think. Your core is everything from down your ribs to your hips, basically where you don't have your ribs and your muscles have to support the stuff in your lower back, and make sure it is very steady. You might use a belt. I'm not going into using a belt in this video. That's going to be a whole another video on bracing with the belt and squatting with the belt. Not much difference, trust me, just offers an additional layer of support. But regardless if you're male or female, you're going to pretend that somebody's going to punch you in the gut. You're going to quickly inhale and do a tiny portion, like 10% of that air, exhale. So that you do before every repetition, every time before you go down, okay? You're going to inhale. And then the tiny little exhale is going to help you get your core tight. Pretend somebody's about to punch you in the gut, so you have to like brace it, collect it, okay, to protect your organs. You can put your hands on the belly to see how that feels and remember how that feels, because you will need to remember how that feels when your hands are on the barbell. After that, you pull your pelvic floor up. Guy, girl, I don't care. You pretend you need to go to the bathroom, like really need to go, and you have to hold it in. So you're going to pull all these muscles up. So for women, it's going to be pelvic floor. For men, it can be anal sphincter. But regardless, you pull all of your intra-abdominal muscles up and keep the core braced. As if somebody's about to punch you in the gut, that is your core braced, okay? Let's do it again. Quickly inhale, tiny inhale, brace your core, and pull your pelvic muscles up. Pretty simple. Okay, so people not bracing is probably the #1 mistake that I see with beginners. They're kind of like loosey-goosey when they start squatting. So they're going to come here and put the barbell on their back. And then they forget. They usually look at me if I'm like a coach and I'm standing next to them like, hey, Katya, am I standing okay? Am I doing this okay? Like, no, bitch, look forward, please. Just find a fly on the wall. Keep staring at it. Now, inhale. Okay, she inhales, but she didn't brace. I need her to do like a tiny little exhale so she's braced. Okay, mistake #2. She starts going down. And I see the little, I don't know how this is going, wiggling kind of. Your center of mass is not going directly down. If you plot the bar trajectory, is going to be kind of curvy. If somebody comes to you and they're like, you're hurting yourself, you're not squatting in a straight line, or like you're wiggling, you cannot do this right away. Even if you watch me or somebody else explain exactly how to squat, you cannot come and do like a perfect squat that has your bar path move in a straight line. That takes practice. And it is okay to practice with weight as long as it's not your maximum weight. As long as not like RPE over 5, I would say, right? So you take this and you're gonna squat in your crooked ass movement until you perfect it. Just like you ride a bike, you're gonna fall a couple of times. Or you write with your left hand, or you learn swimming. You watch Michael Phelps. Well, he can't repeat what he's doing because you don't have the mind-muscle connection yet. So don't ask too much of your body, just practice. And it is okay to practice with weight. No, you're not gonna hurt yourself. Yes, your squat is going to be wiggly, but you are going to eventually try for the bar path to be the straight line and for your butt to be exactly under the bar, and for everything to move like you want to, like you control your body with your brain. It is going to happen, I promise. Just practice. Practice doesn't mean a week or 2. Usually means months. Like half a year to a year, you can usually get a decent squat if you continue practicing constantly. Your center of mass is going to probably push through the middle of your foot into the ground. So it's like that part of your foot, okay? Right below where women have the pressure when they walk in heels. It's not going to be on your heel most likely. It is also not going to be under your toe most likely. And what I don't want for you to do is I do not want the center of mass kind of moving in between the heel and the center of your foot and then the toe. You're going to focus on having it push through the same part of your foot consistently as you go down and as you rise. Every single rep. The more each rep looks like the other rep, the better your squat technique is. One of the other most common mistakes that I see, like probably half of the people do, is turning with a barbell. And I know it sounds illogical and it sounds super unsafe, so I'm gonna show you how this looks like. It is safe when your back is strong. It is, you know, it's not gonna kill you, but if you're a beginner, if your back is kind of just learning how to do stuff, you don't want to do any of these unnecessary movements. You want to focus on the basics and just perfect it, okay? So you're going to put the bar on your back, and then from here, like I said, you find that fly on the wall. You're not going to look at Stacy or look at your coach. Probably people looking all kinds of different directions makes them turn with the barbell. But regardless what you're doing, if you forgot something, if you're looking randomly, you do not want to do this during squat or deadlift or any other movement, okay? Our movements are symmetrical, and you're going to keep it symmetrical until you perfect it. If you're going to do an asymmetrical movement, such as a lunge, you're not turning in your back. You're not going to pretend you're a towel and somebody's wrenching you. Your back doesn't like that, especially when you have a heavy load sitting on it, all right? And then the last mistake that we're going to cover today is people collapsing their chest. So you brace your core. On top of your core, we have your thoracic spine. We'll brace the core, we'll look forward, so we've figured out where the neck is, we figured out where your core is. Okay, your midsection. Now, what do we do with the thoracic spine? Remember I said you pretend that you're like doing a pull-up with a barbell. You pretend you're pulling it down, down, down your back. So your shoulder blades are not going to be all the way up here. Your shoulder blades are going to be down and together. And you pretend somebody's pulling you by your bra, pulling you like by this imaginary thread that connects your nipples, just pulling you up. Okay? And your chest is going to stay that way throughout the whole movement. It doesn't change. Your back doesn't change. Your lower body moves. Your back stays the same. So my barbell is here. My chest is up. And I am keeping this whole thoracic situation together, exactly like I said it. And then I'm just dropping the center of my mass down. I continue pulling the barbell down on my back, and I get up. And I squeeze my glutes at the top, and I lock them out, and I straighten my knees. Lock out means everything is stacked. Barbell, shoulders, glutes, knees, everything is stacked on top of my midfoot. I think that's enough for a beginner squat video. Let me know if I missed anything. Go ahead and watch the 10 most common squat mistakes. I also have a bench warm-up and setup video. It's really short and it's awesome, and I have a long explanation why the arch is not going to kill you. So go ahead and watch some other videos on the channel. They're really nice and useful. Share them with your friends. Make sure to check some free and affordable resources in the description, such as self-guided coaching programs or vegan protein infographics. And of course, apply for coaching if you want a one-on-one approach. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.